KERV, for anyone who doesn't know, KERV can ingest video and produce all of this additional information about the video using our AI. We've been in market really perfecting this for the last 7+ years. And what that means is at any time the frame scene cuts inside of a video, we actually can cut that, timestamp it, and add more information about what was in that scene. We actually have a patent on being able to identify the products in that scene as well. So as you guys have probably seen, we do this with NBC for Must Shop TV, where we actually were matching episodes of Below Deck to Walmart's catalog and being able to make very similar matches and automate that and that partnership. The reason I tell you all of that is to set the stage to actually answer your question, which is, as the publishers are creating all of this new supply, we want to work with them on figuring out how to actually organize the foundational metadata on top of just being able to say, this video is this genre at the whole asset level, or this series is at a high level has this talent in it. We want to be able to help them as they're scaling value up targeting opportunities inside of existing divs, meaning that in an episode of a reality television show, if you have a section that's in a coffee shop, then we can actually value up that placement by targeting Starbucks. And then you have the next kind of act of the show is in a gym. You can value that up by targeting or by selling that to a Planet Fitness.
When you say valuing up, what do you mean?
So as you kind of see the publishers allowing CTV in more areas, they're trying to figure out where can the CPM sit. So I mean, essentially helping them realize that CPMs don't have to just be about reach anymore. They can get more targeted, they can get more valuable. So what we mean is that we can actually add additional contextual value to the ad spots that already exist while we're on our way to, our goal would be that you can pause any piece of content and in that pause actually be able to see products that were matched. That's our goal. But today we're actually trying to your question, look at all of the supply that exists today and say, how can we add more targeting capabilities at scale that the agencies actually have demand for? So I kind of want to drill into infrastructurally, it can't be publisher by publisher, show by show, if we're actually going to make a difference. So KERV is actually partnering at the highest level of the agency holdcos and generating the demand to then go back to the Disneys, the NBCs, the Warners to say, hey, we know that OMD wants this, we know that Publicis wants this. How do we actually scale contextual potting at, how do we scale moments marketing? How do we actually do that interoperably?
Marika, so tell us how it works, how you close the loop in terms of commerce.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And so tell us how the platform integrates with retailers or...
Yeah, I'd love to. So one big difference with the way that we look at it is we look at the product match agnostically. So if we have a client that wants us to focus on Walmart, we have access to the Walmart feed. If we have a client that wants us to focus on Target, Home Depot, what have you, we have access to over 200 product feeds off the shelf. So when we're talking to the publishers, we're able to really focus on looking at the content, figuring out the right story to tell with the content and the commerce side. But in terms of closing the loop, we can agnostically match any piece of content with this whole slew of existing retailers at that pixel edge, which means that we're the most precise product match out there when it comes to video, because no one else is able to get there. We have that patent. So when just kind of taking that into an example, if you're looking at a Top Chef, for example, we're going to match that differently. We're going to match that to potentially Crate and Barrel or some sort of retailer that makes more sense to both the consumer and the viewer, but also to NBC in that example to actually make sure that they can sell that at scale. So the loop with each of the publishers, it looks a little bit different. And that's again what I think we should talk about as an industry, but we can actually track that that match of the product, then connect that to a shopping experience, and then actually look all the way down to the conversion. But right now, every single publisher is looking at the loop a bit different, and the viewer is their viewer. So they have complete control of the consumer experience, where KERV is really mastering serving up the hardest part of that, which is correlating the content to the commerce opportunity at scale. And that is the next phase that we really have to master in the industry, is how do we create a similar user experience across all of these platforms, because it is the same viewer. And every single publisher is very, very particular about their user experience and their viewer, because at the end of the day, it is theirs and their environment. And we need to remember that that viewer is cross-viewing. So if we have one shopping experience that looks different over here and a different one over here, it's going to confuse the consumer when we actually know that they want this. We know from the initial POCs that correlating content and commerce with precision does drive sales. We've seen that. And we've also seen that the more exact and similar the product match, the more sales there are. So we have that data. So now I'm kind of tasking the publishers to come together so that we can normalize and standardize the user experience, so that we can continue to drive those commerce experiences that really feed into everyone's moment of wanting to actually shop something in a video. Everyone has that moment when you're watching like an HD TV show and you're like, I really wish that I could know where to buy that similar chair. Or you're watching your favorite reality television and you're like, I really wish I could find that pink blazer. Everyone has that moment, and KERV has the tech to solve the problem on the back end. So we need the publishers to come together because they want to own solving it on the front end.
And what is the business proposition of KERV? In other words, do you take a piece of the referral, or is it just a software solution? How does it work?
Yeah, so we do not take a piece of the purchase. We are currently an AI API-based company from this perspective. So answering with your lexicon, we're a software company. So when we're talking to Warner, they're actually buying our APIs, which is the product match capability, as well as providing that contextual data back to Warner. We do have creative units to make the crawl, walk, run easier for the publishers as they're building their front end, and that's a creative solution. So we're an API-based software solution that has creative CPM-based ad products if they want to test those out. But we don't take a piece of the purchase and the transaction, because at the end of the day, we want to empower that moment. And the moment can be contextual, or it can be a shopping product-specific moment. KERV wants to empower that in an interoperable way, and incentivize the right integration on the publisher side, because the more content KERV is ingesting, the stronger the ecosystem. So we want to price to incentivize the one pass solution is what we call it, which is just getting the publishers to give us as much of their content as we can get our hands on, to continue to evaluate that content and say, hey, we're missing opportunities in these moments. You're missing shoppable sponsorships in these moments. And if we're charging in a certain way, it doesn't incentivize that right action.